I never meant anything I said, just spitting up everything I've been fed to keep it from eating away at me. Never said anything I meant. I never sent the letters that I should have sent, so it's asking too much for you all to believe. When I say never meant nobody no harm, when I say never was the cause for alarm, never knew what I was talking about anyway.
Hello, and welcome back to Lady Babylon Wednesday night Bible study. Tonight, I'm going to take us somewhere dirty. I'm going to take us somewhere where we're going to get that stuff on our feet. We're going to follow one of the strongest women in all time. Yeah, we're going to follow her to a specific point, and she has been maligned and belittled and turned into a servant of a man. And she was not. And we're also going to talk about Medea, and we're going to look at a specific incantation she performs. We're going to see her actually working the rite so that you can see the functioning of a mystery. Fantastic. That's what we come for to harvest, is that goodies. Yes, that's tonight on Lady Babylon. We've got a couple of real nice clips for you that we're going to look at that will help to thoroughly brainwash you. Fantastic. Love it. Welcome back. Tonight, we're going to go someplace that a lot of people go, but they go with the intention of demeaning. They go as racist or people who want to put people in cages. That's how they end up there. How are we getting there in the Bible? Put the brakes on. Ship's almost there. That's why he talks to them, so that he can distract them from the fact that we're taking a trip. And tonight, we're going to Samaria. We're going to look at Jesus. We're going to see Gangsta G. We're going to see what he was doing. He was getting away from the heat down in Jerusalem. He's traveling up north. In order to get there, he's got to cross over to Samaria. Yeah. So he's been traveling. He comes across a well and he sits himself down. And this lady walks up. And he orders her to give him a drink. He doesn't say, Gangsta G doesn't say, please. Gangsta G doesn't say, excuse me, madam, do you have some water? Gangsta G says, give me water. Yeah. Now this woman who was there, what does she pull out? She says, listen, you racist. What are you doing talking to me? Everybody knows that you don't mix with us. Yeah, that you look on us as inferior, right? Remember, this is a woman taking the orders from a culture where women took orders. Yeah, this is where that man is coming from. He's coming from a culture that orders women around. She's not having any of it. She tells him right up front, this is the greatest passage that nobody has ever bothered to clarify. Nobody has ever played it. Can you smell the air? Can you feel that dirt? Yeah. Forget the fairy tale. This is not the fairy tale. This is not for those who are wanting to partake of the holy hymn. Yeah, hit that. This is not for us. This is a place where we look at the details, the reason. And the first thing she does to him, this woman, first thing she does, she points out, I'm a woman, bro. I'm a woman, number one, you misogynist. And number two, I'm a Samaritan. It was my family that came here. It was my family. Yeah. So we have right away, we have this, kind of conflict going on. I'm going to show you the Greek in a second, but Jesus pulls out at that point. What does he do, man? He's lounging on their well. Yeah. What does he do? He's Gangsta G. You know what he tells her? You know what he tells her? He tells her, I'm sorry. My people are a bunch of racists. Would you oblige me? Do we have some way? No, he didn't say that. He didn't say that. Jesus didn't say that. Gangsta G said, you know who I am? You know who I am. You know who I am. Yeah. I want to run a little clip for you. I want to look at Gangsta G. See Jesus Christ for who he was. He was a man arrested in a public park with a naked boy. When you go to drink of his blood and eat of his flesh, you are promoting a rapist pedophile. Your institutions are the institutions of rapist pedophiles. So he's getting in on it. He's going in on a racial question. He's going to talk about superiority with this lady. You want to know who I am? You want to know who I am? And what does he do? He turns right to his meth, as you would expect. As you would expect a child prostitution ring leading demagogue who gets caught in public parks with naked children. He does exactly what you would expect. He pulls out his drug. He pulls out the thing that keeps everybody going, right? And you can see it in his drug-addled face. You can see it. He's like, I'll give it to you. You could have asked me. I'll tell you who I am. You want to know who Gangsta G is? He says, I'm the guy that can get you the water of life. Water of life. Water of life. That's what I'm going to give you. And what do you get with the water of life, Jesus? Because we're all school children in the grounds. We're just watching this guy standing outside the playground dealing his drugs, right? Giving this woman a hard time. He says, I'll get you the water of life. Do you know what the water of life is? The water of life will give you ionic vision. It gives you that ionic life. It opens your eyes. It opens your eyes. It'll send you into the eremon. It's powerful stuff. And it's got aphrodisiacs in it. And that's why we have little children all over the New Testament. Little children getting touched. Little children getting scandalized. Little children ended up in tombs. This guy has so many naked children around him. Have you ever wondered? Who showed up? Who showed up at his tomb? Who showed up at his tomb? Yeah. Women who they called prostitutes. Yeah. Women. He was constantly trying to keep them safe, and they knew Jesus was associated with the prostitutes. He's got something going on. If we're in an investigation about why that naked boy was with him in a public park, we got to know that he's performing pimp-like protections for these women. They show up at his death. They show up. And there's a kid there inside his tomb before this group can even get to him. And we know the Bible tells us that He's non-associate of prostitutes and accountants, right? So he's got something going on. Peter's not the only one who's knocking off people for cash, right? Right? He's not the only one. He knows how this act works. He's not the only one who's immune to the venoms, right? These guys have the venoms on board. This is some major, major stuff. And this Samaritan woman who steps up and steps into the breach, she stands against his racism because you know why? You know why the Jews and the Samaritans fight? Because the Samaritans worship a woman. Isn't that something? They worship a woman. Nobody saw that with a Samaritan woman. We have Christianized her. We've taken that Samaritan woman, we have Christianized her. You will hear people preaching from the pulpit. You will hear feminists talk about her, and that we have completely stirkified her image completely. This is a woman who worships a woman. You're not going to tell me to get you water. You got water of life? Yeah? Show me. Show me. Right? You think you're the Christos? Is that what you think? And then there's something lovely that happens in the middle of this conversation, right? She says to him in the Greek, right? You think you're that one, the Messias, right? The one they call Christos, Hokalomenos, Christos, right? That was the name. The Messiah wasn't the name for the dude within the rite. The Christ was the name for the dude. And the Samaritan points it out. Why? Because she worships the lady who's the head of everything, who brings you that burning purple, right? She brings you that ionic life. You think Jesus came on the scene and just made the stuff up, right? You think just ex nihilo? Do you really believe the fairy tale? Can we have some fairy tale music, please? A little fairy tale. Chewy, hit it. There she is. There she is in the fairy tale. Yeah, with Jesus. Yeah. Turns out Gangsta G comes up and brings his brand up to them. He brings it up. He's like, I'll get you water of life. You be sitting in a tomb for 3 days. Totally gone. Yeah. Yeah. We'll bring you out of it. And what you will bring back with you will open your eyes. Will open your eyes. Jesus Christ was a child selling, drug peddling cult leader, a performer of a mystery, the source of which goes all the way back to the Bronze Age. Yeah. But here he is doing his own function, man. He's out there flying on his own juice, right? Right? Fantastic. Let's, Chewy, hit that clip number 2. Hit that clip number 2. What happens? What happens to this process if we let it keep working its mold? Hit it.
To me to hear that, because I heard that for 8 years after revolution, same stuff that Russia and basically Russian propaganda that was translated in Russia is the same thing people who are anti-Ukraine repeat in other countries, including America and, pretty much everyone, I would say. So this whole thing about LGBT, which, by the way, nothing wrong in supporting LGBT, but it's not something that justifies an invasion. But they just use, I would say, in Russia, LGBT as a boogeyman, basically. So for them, it's an example of like a Western degeneracy. I apologize if it sounds rude, but that's how they call it. So for them.
Do you know who I am? Do you know who I am? I'm the guy who can come into town. I've got minions. These minions will write laws about you. Yeah. Gangsta G. Gangsta G. That woman at the well stood up against him, faced toe to toe. Toe to toe. She wasn't afraid of him. Just like Anastasia is not afraid of Gangsta P. Yeah, look at what they're trying to do. You say, hey, this is political. I haven't said a single political thing. Not a single. This is not politics. This is history at present. This is history at present. Pull yourself out and look at what's going on. Don't join a club. Just look at what's going on. Yeah, it's coming. Gangsta P is coming. I want to shift now, and I want to move to a little bit of incantation to bring you to a place. Let's go. Let's everybody get back in the ship. I'll take a drink of tea. We'll set the time now for late Bronze Age. Put the settings, Chewy, on some cult, and let's look at what she's doing. Let's look at what Medea herself is doing. Now, whose spirit are we sucking up along the way, right? Because we're necromancers. Whose spirit? We're going to grab Seneca. We're going to grab the guy that was advising Nero, the guy who had the access to the collection. Yeah. Yeah, it turns out the emperors were keeping collections of scrolls with ancient knowledge on them. Yeah, a lot of pharmacological stuff too, a lot of cult. Nero comes in and gives us an ritual performance. Yeah. Seneca peers into this ritual performance. Nero supplies the drugs through his archmage. Yeah. His archiatros, right? His head doctor, who has got access to the formula, right? We've been here. I showed you the documents. You've seen this stuff, right? You guys know where we are. We need to go into that dark harbor. And in order to do that, we're going to pull out Seneca. And I just want to read you a little bit of Seneca. I just want you to relax and enjoy. I'm going to put my glasses on, and we're going to see cult for the first time. It might get a little dark. It might get a little bit PG-13 rated. But we're going to take a look. This is Medea. She says, I loosen my hair from its bands after the manner of my people. With bare feet have I trod the secret groves and called forth rain from dry clouds. Okay, get a picture of her and who she is. Okay, get a picture. We need to look at that Sitha, that Scythian queen. We need to take a look at her. Yeah, surrounded by her Medusa. Fantastic. I have driven the seas back to their lowest depths, and the ocean, his tides outdone, has sent his crushing waves further into the land. This is the woman who stands. This is the woman who stands. And in like manner, with heaven's law confounded, the world has seen both sun and stars together. And you bears, have bathed in the forbidden sea. The order of the seasons I have changed. The summer land has blossomed beneath my magic song, and by my compelling series has seen harvest and wintertime. Phasis, the river, has turned his swift waters backwards to their source. One of the rivers of the four that surrounded Edem. Edem. In mirror magic, Edem is the Medwa. Yeah, fantastic. Those four rivers ran out everywhere. Those of you who think about the garden, you should be. Yeah, wonderful. Excellent. The waves have roared, the mad sea swelled, though the winds were still. The heart of the ancient woods has lost its shadows when the bright day has come back to them at commandment of my voice. Yeah. Vocus imperio mei die reducto. It's a beautiful line in Latin. Yeah. By the command of my voice, by my voice's imperium, the day is led back. Do you see how unnatural this is? right? It is that female voice standing against the order, against it. Yes, it's gorgeous, gorgeous. Love it, love it, love it. Phoebus has halted in mid-heaven. That's the sun, right? Phoebus has halted in mid-heaven, and the Hyades, moved by my incantation, totter to their fall. The hour is at hand, O Phoebe, for your sacred rites. This is Medea, who is speaking to Phoebe, who is, in two senses, the Britomart. Yeah, she is that Artemisian or that Dianic force. Yes, yes. She is also the Lucifera. The Lucifera. Yeah, the bringer of that light, the bringer of dawn. We see in this invocation, we also talk about the attributes that are given to Aphrodite. And people say, we're invoking Hecate here. We very much are. We very much are. But when you look at the epithets that are used for Hecate, when you look at the images in the Orphic hymns that are used for Hecate, and then you cross those with Phusis, Urania, they called her, they are the same. And the culmination is in the line, Medusa. She is the one who guards the air, the water, and the earth. She is that one who guards all of those realms, all of those angles of existence. We're talking about the quantum and the fact that you can't observe something without changing it. Yeah, the fact that you can't observe something without changing it. Yeah. Yeah, let's continue. Let's get into the riot. Let's see what she's actually doing. To you I offer these wreaths wrought with bloody hands, earth and each entwined with 9 serpent coils. Right? What is she offering? What does Medea have to offer? What does this woman at the well have to offer? Serpent coiled wreaths. Yeah, serpent coiled wreaths. Gorgeous. To you, these serpent limbs, which rebellious Typhoeus wore, who caused Jove's throne to tremble. Are we still in Samaria? Yep, we are. We're still there. We're with a woman whose people caused the throne of Jove, Jehovah's seat, to tremble. Yeah, this is lovely. It gets real druggy here. Watch that. In this is the blood which Nessus, that traitor ferryman, bestowed as he expired. With these ashes the pyre sank down, which drank in the poisoned blood of Hercules. Nessus's blood is poison. Hercules' blood is poison. There's a reason she's the Medusa. She's 6'6", looks like a 12-year-old. Right? Before she was born, they were bathing her through her mother in the venom. You know what happens when you do that? You get the Medusa. Yeah. Yeah. People are surprised that was a 13-year-old girl that they found in Scythia. Looks like she's the head of an army. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. You're right. These feathers the harpy left in her trackless lair when she fled from Zetes, and to these the quills of the wounded Stymphalian bird which felt the darts of Lerna. We're talking about bows and drugs. You have given forth your voice, you altars. Wait a minute. What's happening? She is hearing the voice from the altar. Why are we doing this? Because it's oracular. Don't worry. Moses has that tent in the wilderness where you can sit there You can take in all those drugs that are coming off of that altar. You can face the snake, the serpent on the rod, and you can have the voice of God speak from the oracle. Guess what Medea is doing? Is this odd? Should we find this odd? No. Pindar says that she preserved the oracle, right? There's an oracle of Medea, right? And who is she speaking to? She's speaking to the first oracle, Phoebe. Isn't that gorgeous? That's gorgeous. Yeah. I see Trivia's swift gliding car, not as when radiant with full face she drives the livelong night, but as when ghastly with mortal aspect, harried by Thessalian threats, she skirts the narrow reign of the edge of heaven. So do you shed from your torch a gloomy light through the air. Terrify the peoples with new dread, and let precious Corinthian bronzes resound, Dictana, to your aid. She's invoking Britamartis, right? She's invoking the poison shedder, Eokeira. Eokeira is what the Greeks call her. Yeah. To you, on your altar's bloody turf, we perform your solemn rites. To you, a torch caught up from the midst of a funeral pyre has illumined the night. To you, now get the picture of what she's doing here. Here's the rite. Tossing my head, and with bended neck I have uttered my magic words for you. Lying in funeral fashion, a band binds my flowing locks. For you is brandished the gloomy branch from the Stygian stream. Now, for those of you with ears to hear, and for those of you who are just super into people like Virgil, you'll understand. You'll see the images and you'll know, oh, we're in the oracular cult, Kumai. We're taking ourselves to Kumai. Why? Because that's where we go into the underworld, right? This is the quantum part. Right? We have to open up that underworld. You didn't think Jesus was arrested in a public park with a naked boy. You didn't think the woman at the well was a hero standing up against a gangster, right? But now you do. Now you're seeing it. We got to go deeper. We got to go into the abyss itself. We got to find that place. What does she say? What does Medea say? Give sting to my poisons. De venena stimulos. Give that power to move to my drugs. Give that power. And in my gifts, keep hidden the seeds of fire. The seeds of fire are in your poison. What does she start to do? She starts to cut herself. She starts to cut herself. And remember, these Medusa, they carry the poison in their hair. They have it constantly there, the arrow poison. In this passage, Nero points out, it's all about the bow, says Medea. Orcus, the bow. It's all grounded in that poison, in that communion. And Medea even says, after she's around the time that she's identified as Lucifera, she talks about her sacred laticase. Her sacred laticase. What is latex or latex? What is that? It's the milky white juice that comes off the opium poppy when you cut it. Now, it doesn't have to be just opium. It can be any juice, excretion that transfers from the source to the participant, the ionic life. Yeah, that eye opening. Medea says her blood is that life. Is that life. She is the Christ. She is the Savior more than 1,000 years before Jesus ever existed. Jesus Gangsta G knows what he's doing. He's been educated in Egypt, right? He comes back after they told him, the Magi told him, they were like, this dude's going to be the king of everything, right? Right? He goes down to Egypt. He gets his education. He's got his drugs with him. He's got a ton of frankincense and myrrh. He's got the very elements that you mix everything else in. Jesus was using drugs so heavily that his operation of the mystery was constant, unceasing. We're going to look over the next couple of weeks what happens when you're under the influence of this communion. We're going to talk about that thirst. We're going to look into the cult. And we're going to see Jesus, who, by the way, got popped in the end. He got popped. Someone turned on him. He got handed over for justice. Somebody was having a debate with Neil about Jesus getting handed over. Paul says he got handed over. Paradidomi. You know, that's used for giving somebody to the authorities so that they can find justice, bring to justice. Jesus got brought to justice. He got brought to justice. And then in the end, he's yelling. Remember, the same guy, the same cocky gangster who's standing there with this woman of Samaria who is the gall to stand in his face when he's a man, right? Says, you know who I am? That same guy who's saying, I've got the juice that you will never thirst again. That same guy is screaming out from a cross, I'm so thirsty. Ah! And he's screaming magical phrases. Yeah. Sabachthon. Sabachthon. You know who appreciates Sabachthon? Those Samaritans that are looking for the Christos, which the Jews call Messias. You see how it works? You've been looking in the wrong. You thought you were looking in the entrance. You're looking in the exit, right? We got to get back there. We got to get back to those times. So over the next, that's our 30 minutes. That's all the devil gives me. But over the next couple of Bible studies, I want to go to these places so that you can see the cult in operation. You can see this person who enters that phase, who enters the eremon, who enters that place where the heavens are opened, where Uranos is able to transmit. And I want you to see what that brings. I want you to see it. And I want you to realize those 7 stars that Jesus holds in his hand, those 7 stars are the same 7 stars that Medea uses to form the cup of the sacred communion. Yeah, Jesus Christ was high on venoms, Yeah, somebody just wrote to me and said, I get this a lot, where people say, you said that, and I didn't believe you, but now I saw something, and now you were right, and I'm amazed that you're right, as if I'm some sort of, constant plotter of dark deception, right? No, so scorpion. Turns out scorpion venom is the most expensive solution on the planet, right? Turns out, pound for pound, it's the most expensive. And why is that? Well, I don't know. But I can tell you in antiquity, they were using it. Yeah. Using it in these weird stuff they were doing. But it was medical too. Yeah. They weren't just smoking these things like they did in Pakistan, right? They were in antiquity. They were integrating it with the medicine. Yeah, you got to get that body. Remember the polypharmacy. Shout out to the gentleman pharmacologist, neuropharmacologist who contacted me. Shout out to you. Yeah, and because you know the art, you know what's going on. Yeah, imagine that. The next level of pharmacology, right? Making the patient the manufacturer of the drug. You can give people things to make them produce the drug that you need to reach that ionic, persistence. They say it makes you live a long time. They said she looked like she was 12 years old, and it didn't make sense. Medea, right? Why does she look like she's 12 years old and she leads the army? Why is she the only one who can stand up against the other guys who have the bow poisons? Why is she the only one that can stand up against them? Why is she the master of the purple? Right? It's because she's producing it. She is producing the communion. Her bodily substance is our communion. This is 1,100 years before that Gangsta G ever showed up in Samaria to give them a hard time. Yeah. Thank you for coming tonight. Thank you for coming tonight. I hope the microphone is helping with the audio. And I'm going to have a meeting with some people after. I need a few minutes to take a break. But for the next couple of sessions that we have, I'll be pushing. We're gonna increase the speed here. We're halfway through, right? We're approaching the midpoint. So we need to speed. We need to pick up our pace there so that you can feel your productivity is kicking in. Yeah. Thank you for staying with us tonight. Thank you for being here. Hail Satan.
When I say never meant nobody no harm, when I say never was a cause for alarm, maybe you'll understand what I meant someday. Maybe I will too. Just put on different masks and ask the questions that fella might